Hi everyone, welcome to Dave's Tech. I'm Dave, and today we are going to talk about this device, the UniFi Cloudkey Gen1. And also we will be setting up the UAP AC long range. If you're new to the channel and would like to learn everything about setting up Ubiquiti, Mikrotik, and everything about technology, consider subscribing to the channel. So let's get to it. With this bad boy right here, this is the Cloudkey, the UniFi or Ubiquiti Cloudkey first generation. I got this from a job that I was doing. They gave that to me because they upgraded to Gen 2 Cloudkey. So I'm gonna I don't really know what setup is here, if this works or not. Actually, it was pulled from a working environment, but not by me, so I don't personally know if this is even gonna power up or not. So here are in our crazy workbench a lot of stuff. I'm gonna connect that to my Mikrotik, to my CCR right there. So I'm gonna use this USB-C cable to power this. So hold on, I'm gonna try to do that. This is PoE. This can be powered by PoE, but unfortunately it cannot be powered by anything else than a UniFi switch. But apparently, as you see by the white light blinking and then changing colors, it's probably gonna work. I'm gonna take this patch cord that's coming from the Mikrotik and put it right here. You heard the click. Oh yeah, you see those lights? So it actually seems to be going to work. So I'm gonna be reviewing and probably setting something up, some UAPs that I have laying around, probably one device for this home network, provision the device. So it's blinking, connection apparently is working. I don't know if that's gigabit or not. Let's see what happens with the boot process. These are great devices because they have the UniFI Controller software built in. So you can basically do a lot of stuff with it, but apparently it's gonna work. So I'm gonna speed up the process. So I paused the video, came back after a while, and you see that blue light, which apparently shows that this device is provisioned, has some settings, so probably it will work. Now I'm going to check in the computer into the DHCP table from my Mikrotik. Let's see. Nope, it's not showing up. We're gonna have to reset it with the magic wand. This copper coaxial cable reset device that I made. This is going to be quite difficult to do it, but it's not right here. So as a how-to, this is going to be like an instructional video. So down below the USB-C connector, you can see that it has a micro SD card slot. I know I have that somewhere laying around this desk, and the reset button that you can push with the device I have on hand, the USB-C connector. So you push that as with every Ubiquiti device for like 20 seconds, more than 10 seconds you do that. Let's see what happens if I try to, see if I can pull that. I can push the button and pull that. Okay, I feel it's being depressed. So let's wait and see. Okay, Let's wait for it to stop blinking. It's probably like 10 or 15 seconds. It's been a while now, so I'm gonna release. Let's wait for the device to stop like flashing. Okay, we seem to be doing fine. Okay, steady, like pulsing, white-ish, gray-ish light, I mean. So let's see. When these devices are reset to factory defaults, as I just did with my magic wand, they will stay blinking like this. They shouldn't turn blue. The light shouldn't be blue, just that white-ish, gray-ish light blinking constantly. Then we'll need to go back into the computer. Many devices, but there you go. There you go. There is the UniFi Cloudkey. So it's been like a good minute or so. And now for the setup. Let's see which IP did it take. Okay, 192.168.123.227. That's the MAC address for all of those hackers out there interested. Okay, so bound, unified Cloudkey. Now let's go to the computer. Okay, so we're at the computer. I have Mozilla Firefox. You now have to head on over to the IP that we've gotten from the device. Remember, 192.168.123.227. And this is the screen that you're greeted with when you go into the device. You need to go to Advanced, Accept the Risk, and then you will be greeted with this. You have two options: manage your devices by UniFi Controller or configure your unified Cloudkey. Here in this section, which will cover both of them, open link in new tab. Here you can set like make it static IP, firmware upgrades, reboot, power off the device, and some basic management tasks. The username and password should be root UBNT, and there you have it. Then you are forced to change the default password. We are going to do that right now, and we are going to make it a very secure password. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and there you have your secure password. And here you have the options. You have the CPU, all of the load of the device, and the configuration parameters that I was telling you earlier. You can change the name. You can also change the time zone, make it static IP or DHCP. So it gets its IP configuration from your router or your gateway or whichever device you have serving as DHCP server. Then on the maintenance tab, you have options to change your password, change your username, the maintenance tab that has reboot, power off, and reset to defaults. You can restore backups, stop the UniFi service, create auto backups or restore auto backups. The firmware, if the device has internet, you can check for updates and see that there is a new one. We have 1.1.6 and there is 1.1.13. We could upgrade, which is my advice. Remember, there is a firmware and there is the UniFi software, which are two different things. From the UniFi controller, we have 5.11.50 and all of those numbers. I'm pretty sure there is a new version of the UniFi controller. Yep, 5.14.23. So we are lagging behind the releases. I'm gonna do that right now. Let's go for the UniFi controller software first. I will fast forward the video. And after quite a few minutes, the update complete. UniFi is up to date. Now we update the firmware. There is nothing to be lost, so we don't care about something breaking because there is no configuration or anything that can be damaged. So again, we'll fast forward and be back in a bit. With this upgrade, it's a good idea to bear in mind that the device will reboot. With the UniFi Controller upgrade process, there is no reboot, just the service restarting and all of that happening in the background. The service obviously will be down for the duration of the upgrade process. And now, as you can see on the screen, the Cloudkey is rebooting. On the unit itself, there is nothing interesting happening apart from the device rebooting itself and applying the upgrade. The firmware upgrade will be back when this is finished. And after a long while, 2-3 minutes, we have again the login screen for the UniFi Cloudkey. It's a good idea, and a word of caution: always allow this process to take place. Don't think, oh, this screwed up, the process is broken, anything happens. No, do not touch the device, do not unplug it from the power, because you will probably break it. So just let it be. Let it do its thing. It's gonna take a good 5 minutes. You can go and have a cup of coffee or something, whatever you drink, tea, depending on your region, and allow it to sit. Then we can log back in with root and our secure password. There you go, there you go. It was taking longer than I expected. Everything seems to be going smooth. Let's check if we have any new options here. Nothing. Apparently it's same old, same old. So we can go back into this website or page, whatever you want to call it. We have the same options that we had before. And if we are done with setting up the basic settings from the device, we can move on to the manage your devices with Cloudkey. You will be presented again with this warning about the SSL certificate, that this is not a secure site, but we know it's secure because, yeah, we allow the process to continue. And then we have our initial settings wizard. By selecting this, you agree to the end user license agreement or restore from a backup. We do not have any backup, so we're gonna start from scratch. Let's leave that as default. The UniFi network will be the name of our controller. Setting up with your Ubiquiti account. So if you have your credentials, you have created an account with Ubiquiti, you input that in here, or you can go to advanced setup and create a local only account if you feel that way. I'm gonna do it with my UniFi Cloud account. UniFi network setup automatically optimize my network. That's a good idea to leave on. And enable auto backup. If you have an SD card, a micro SD card, the device will automatically create backups for you on a regular basis. So you can customize all of that. Let's move on. You have no devices. I should have one. There is actually an AP, but I set that up as a standalone device. So probably that is why it's not showing up. But there is no problem. We're gonna continue. The Wi-Fi name, I'm gonna call that Tech Wi-Fi. and the Wi-Fi password is this one. You have an option here if you have the newer generation UAPs that have dual band or dual radios, 5 gigahertz and 2.4 gigahertz. You can move this to the on position. Both networks on 2.4 and 5 gigahertz will be called TIC Wi-Fi. So you click next. You have like a review of the settings. UniFi network, enable, blah, blah, blah. So we click finish. We let it do its thing again. And the good thing about UniFi Controller is that you can do a lot of stuff with it. You can set it up using your mobile device. You can set it up locally, connected to the Cloudkey directly on your network via a web browser, or you can use their cloud service, which is awesome because you can manage sites from wherever in the world or outside of it you are. Missing SD card. We have detected that your SD card is missing. Oh yeah, I know that. So disable auto backup. Yeah, as soon as I find the SD card, I will put it. Don't send or send to UniFi, which is this, security and analytics. Let's not. And here you have your dashboard. I like to do it this way. I like it dark. No issues with our network. We have the sites. We start with the default. We can go into settings, the LED screen. If this was if this were a Gen 2 device, but it's a Generation 1, so it has no LCD screen. Generation 2 devices do have LCD screens. Screen timeout, and we can set a lot of other nifty stuff right here. Advanced features. There is a good chance that as a professional UniFi installer, you need some of those options, so it's a good idea to check that. Automatic upgrades. As per my experience, I like to do this. I like to click this and enable that. Enable alert emails. That's a good idea. When devices go down, you get notified of that. The speed test, you need the USG device, which I do not have connected. I will probably do a separate video on that. App link connectivity monitor. That's just basic stuff, so no need to change any of that. And the provider capabilities, download and upload speeds. If you want to specify those manually, you can do that right here. Auto optimize network, we checked that when we were first setting the device up, so we're good to go right here. Also, after you do that, you have the option to specify the device authentication credentials. These credentials right here, this username and this password, will be the credentials or the authentication token that the UniFi controller will use to provision new devices that you add to your network. So we do not use UBNT/UBNT as we used to do years ago. Basically, that's about it. Wireless network, you can see TIC Wi-Fi. We did set that. If you want to make any more changes to the network, just simply click on edit, and then you can change more of these settings. This is a very basic walkthrough of the controller, so we're not going to change any of that. The network, we have the LAN. If we had a USG or the Unified Security Gateway, we could do a lot of other stuff right here for the obviously the routing and gateway firewall routing capabilities of the UniFi network. You need the USG or UniFi Security Gateway, and switches, obviously APs or the other devices, cameras or whatever you have, you can add and find right here. All of these options will be deemed unusable if you do not have a UniFi Security Gateway. We see there are no devices. The weird thing is that I don't know why it's not finding my AP. So I'm probably going to connect another device and we'll be right back. That's the good thing about being a Ubiquiti trainer.
you gotta have devices spare or whatever for the classes and all that stuff. So that's a good thing. That comes in handy when doing these videos. After the device shows up and it says managed by other, this probably is from one of my previous classes, you need to adopt the device. When you adopt a device on the UniFi controller, it will provision the device and try to bring it to our network, to our UniFi network, and set the device with all of the parameters that we previously put on the configuration of the UniFi controller. So stop rumbling and hit adopt. So we wait for the device to start adopting. It says adoption failed, and I wanted that to happen. Actually, I wanted that to happen. So we know what we need to do. Let's go back and check if the username is correct. Yes, it's TIC Academy, but the device won't provision. So it's a good idea when we see these kind of issues, we can go ahead and restart the device by pressing the reset button on the unit as we did with the Cloudkey. I decided to go ahead and reset the device by pressing the reset button for more than 10 seconds. Device will stop being blue. It will go gray, like the halo that the devices have. And then you release the button. We can go right here to make sure that we are not taking any wrong parameters and forget the device. After you reset it, the halo lights like grayish and then it starts blinking. It should show up right there on your screen in a couple of seconds, minutes, hours, days, probably. Now I see a whitish, grayish light, and there you have it. As I told you. First, if you see these, it means that the device has some firmware upgrade available. Again, it's a good idea to always upgrade your devices, and I'm gonna do just that. This is going to be a long video. During the flashing or updating process, the LEDs on the front of the unit will be blinking white, blue, white, blue, white, blue, and then steady white, and then blinking white. I'm just telling you what I'm seeing right now with the device that I'm holding in my hands. So it will take about 1, 2, or 3 more minutes to complete the upgrade process and the device be ready for provisioning and adopting into the UniFi controller. Steady white light on the UAP AC LR UniFi access point AC long range. It's still upgrading, doing its thing, just chilling, and we wait. I read somewhere that if you feel like this process is taking longer than usual and you do not see after a couple of minutes any messages like this, you can press F5, but do not do that. Try not to refresh the page because as you can see, pending adoption, the device is ready to be adopted. Now you see the adopt button right here. And that is just what we are going to do right now. We're going to click adopt, and now there is not going to be an adoption failed process. I wanted that to happen because I wanted to show you that not all devices will work the same way. Probably you took an access point from one site to another. It needs to be provisioned again for this new site, but the device comes in with configurations that you actually do not need. If adoption doesn't work, it means that the credentials between the devices and the UniFi controller do not match. There is a mismatch of credentials. So the best option and your best bet is to physically reset the unit by depressing the reset button. Provisioning process takes place, then again this can take some time, but after a while you will see this green connected message that confirms that this device has been provisioned and it's working with the configuration settings that you gave it. You got stats, you have the site survey, which I strongly encourage you to do before going into production. If it's a dual band access point, you will have the 2G and 5G bands available for you to test. You will also have the clients that are connected to that specific AP. Here you have the options. You can manage the advanced devices. You can change the parameters to make the device use high throughput, 20 or 40 megahertz, depending on the band. Also the channel, this is the 5G radio, and this is the 2G radio, the 2.4 gigahertz. You can do that on both of them. Then you can manage also the minimum signal strengths that the device will advertise. You can change the WLAN name for this specific device. You can also name the device, which is normally the standard. Let's call that home AP. And then you save. You will see that change immediately right here on the left side of the screen. You have the services that the device can run as NMP, the VLAN assignment. If you are running VLANs on your network, the network will be the IP assignment for the device, be it DHCP dynamically or statically assigned IP. The band steering, airtime fairness, which is a very cool feature from the UniFi products, which we are not gonna go into detail on this video. Wireless uplinks, this is very interesting, and even though I'm not gonna go a lot into detail on this, you can mesh these kind of IPs. So if you cannot run cable from one place to the other where the second AP is going to be, you can enable these features so that the device, if it's in close proximity of this home AP device, it can mesh from it. It can uplink to it and have clients connect to it and relay all of the connections to this home AP that we have on our screen. That's a very nifty feature of these UniFi devices. This is one of the strengths and the differences, the main differences of doing this using standalone, which is what you can do using the iPhone or Android app on your UniFi devices, or doing it using this UniFi controller, which is a lot more powerful than the standalone method. And finally, the managed device, which is what we did. You can reprovision the device, you can disable this device, you can forget this device to just reset it and ship it to other site or whatever. And finally, there is nothing else to say. This was a very brief, description of the process of setting up a Cloudkey Generation 1 from Ubiquiti and a UAP ACLR access point. This was a quick rundown of the features and options and parameters and things that you need to do on a basic first-time installation. Now you can go and play around with your cell phone, your tablet, your wireless-enabled devices, and try to connect to this network and see the clients come in, which is what I'm gonna do just right now. So please, while I connect to the network, please go ahead and leave me some comments. Tell me, was this useful? Could you connect to the Wi-Fi after you set it up? while you leave your comments below and subscribe to the channel if you have not done so. I'm gonna connect to the TIC Wi-Fi network. I'm going to input the password, and there you have connectivity. 100%. You see the client show up right here. Let's do some speed test magic and see the traffic. Remember, this device is not standalone, but we are not running the UniFi security gateway, so stats will vary. Your mileage may vary if you are not using the UniFi security gateway. We can have a lot of info about this. The device is connected to 5G. You can see a lot of information right here on the dashboard, speed and all of that stuff. So we're gonna leave it here, guys. If you like the video, remember subscribe and leave your comments below. If this information was helpful for you, consider subscribing and keep watching more videos from Dave's Tech. Cheers.